Here on ESPN Radio Winchester, I am Joe Abraham, and we are joined by Troy Parsons Jr. This is a great opportunity to have a follow-up interview with one of the sheriff's candidates here in Franklin County. Post-debate here on ESPN Radio 1340, 106.9. And, Troy, I really appreciate you taking time to come in and chat with us. This is one of those things that you get in a debate situation. You're sitting next to the other candidates for the sheriff's position here in the county, and it all moves so fast, right?
Yes,
So this is a great opportunity to just kind of take a minute, reflect back. I'm sure that you've gotten plenty of questions, since that time, since the debate. And so we're going to sit down and we're going to just talk about them for a few minutes.
Yes, sir.
So one of the first things that I wanted to ask you about is, and it came up during the debate, was the question regarding the budget. And you had not had at that point in time a chance to review the budget when the debate was filmed yet. But you were telling me just before we started that you have put in a request at this point. Is that the case?
Yes, sir. That is correct. I placed my FOIL report in and waiting on a response to get that budget back so that I can go over it and see what things need to be budgeted.
Yeah, where the
in the correct
opportunities for
property.
improvement could be. Okay. So that's good to hear. Now, another thing that was, and Ricky kind of paused and asked you to kind of restate what you were saying. But there was a point in time where you mentioned during the debate how a offender could also be a victim. Clarify that a little bit for me.
Yes, sir. I think that kind of had everybody baffled. What I meant by that is, just say a drug user or a drug addict, whichever way you want to call it, come into the facility, whether they've, stolen somebody's property or maybe vandalized something.
Yeah.
Just giving them the foundation to have their family come in there, and from their aspect, the offender's aspect, explaining maybe something that they couldn't explain in their right mind, but now they're sober enough to say, "Hey, this is why I'm an addict," or this is why I'm doing these things when I'm on drugs.
Right. I think isn't that the point of recidivism a little bit when you talk about, avoiding people re-entering the system over and over and over again, is breaking that cycle. The cycle, I think, is what you were referring to, is what it sounded like from my point of view. So as far as that, and you've seen this firsthand working within the system, talk about what that might look like for people when we talk about breaking the cycle, whether it be the cycle of addiction or, experiences that they might have had in their life. How much of an effect does that have on the folks who make it into the system?
It plays a big part into their actions that they're committing out there in the real world. These gentlemen and ladies have told me things that has to deal with their life, and they can't tell their family because they're afraid their family's going to judge them, and I'm a stranger. But they're so confident in me listening to them and not judging them that they can open up a little bit.
Yeah. I think that one of the words that you have on your signs is visionary. And that seems like a part of it is that it's kind of a different way of maybe looking at things outside of the traditional, bad guys don't just wake up bad guys one day. It's a process. Sometimes their life experiences set them on a path. Now, one of the other questions that I wanted to ask you was in regard to grants. You brought up grants a couple of times in the interview and then during the debate and stuff. Talk a little bit about, where you're looking for these grants. What is the opportunity here? Where does this lie, and what have you discovered?
So not to cut you off with that question, but so from my past experiences of writing grants, I have the resources and the means to know exactly where to go to look for certain grants. But I will hit on one grant specifically. It's school violence prevention program grant. And what that consists of is I can apply for this grant and I can get up to $500,000. That's no payback grant. That is you'll have 3 years with that contract, making sure that the only binding part of that contract is that you're doing what the stipulations require you to do
Right.
in that inside that grant, meaning which showing receipts of what you're paying for, the trainings you're paying for, all the equipment and so forth like that. But that is going to give us 3 years of a 4-year term. Once that 3 years gets there, you can reapply for that same grant.
Okay. Is that something that's like a 50-50 match? Do you know? Is it 100% covered, or
It's 100%
100%
covered.
covered?
There's no you have to put so much money into it or anything like that. It's just one of those things that they're going to give you up to
Right.
$500,000 if you meet certain criteria to get $500,000.
Right.
With no 50-50 or any of this other thing. As long as you're providing proof of what that facility may or may not need,
Right.
you're going to be eligible for a percentage of that
Okay.
grant.
Okay. Another part of the conversation surrounded kind of bridging back, connecting back with the local communities. It's unique. Franklin County is very unique in that, it is one single county, but there are so many small and unique communities that are so different from one another. And so part of the conversation revolved around, well, how do we connect with these communities to better affect our ability to police them? And some of your conversations in that regard surrounded, having community-based events and other things like that. But talk a little bit about the bridging and connecting with community.
So one of my biggest things, if I were to be elected, is going to be having town hall meetings. And when I say town hall meetings, I mean for the whole county. You can start into a city and have city hall meetings.
Mm.
Hey, tell me your concerns. Voice your complaints about the sheriff's office. I want to hear it all.
Right.
And that way we can fix it and better the whole community
Right.
and the county itself. And that goes back to the whole grant that I just spoke on. Hey, you're a parent. You know what you think is going to make your child safe. I want to hear your ideas. I'm not the only one that can come up with ideas to make our schools in this county safer.
Right. Okay. I like that. The town hall. I think that's good, getting feedback from the community, and heck, that's part of the reason why we do these is whether it be informing the public or the public informing us on how we can be doing a better job. Now, one of the last things that I wanted to ask you about as we get set to wrap it up, again, we're joined by Troy Parsons Jr. Just a short little follow-up interview talking about some of the things that were mentioned during the sheriff's debate. One of the questions that I had for you is about holding our own accountable. And you brought up an example of something that you witnessed firsthand during the debate. You brought up an example. But how do you feel like we can better hold our officers maybe accountable for some of the actions that are going on in the county?
Well, my outlook on it is if we're going to go out here and arrest people for misdemeanors and felonies, we should be holding ourselves even higher, because at the end of the day, we're law enforcement. We're enforcing laws. So if we're breaking laws, whether it be inside the jail as corrections nurse, any personnel like that, or deputies,
Yeah.
we should be having the same consequences as citizens of the county.
Yeah.
That is the way I view it. We shouldn't be just give you a slap on the wrist and say, okay, you can resign, and be able to go to a different department and either conduct the way that you have been conducting at a different facility and possibly get somebody hurt. But we need to make a mark as this is not okay.
Right.
And you're not going to be able to work in law enforcement, you committing felonies and misdemeanor crimes like this.
Right. Yeah, the standard applying equally regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So just to wrap things up, is there anything else that you would like to say to voters here? Again, each and every day we're heading closer and closer. Early voting right around the corner as well. But is there anything else that you'd like to say?
The only thing else I would like to say is my age and experience doesn't define me. What defines me is my personality and the way I conduct myself. I'm I wouldn't say an outspoken person, but I'm an outgoing person, meaning which I'm a go-getter. I want the best for the community. I want best for whether it's the sheriff's office or my own police department. I want to be the lead guy showing you that I want to be the first one through the door, so my guys can either not get hurt or just to see that just because he's a supervisor or sheriff or whatever the case may be, he's here with us and he is proven that he does want to be a part of this unit. So
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Again, Troy Parsons Jr. wrapping things up, wants to set the standard, wants to, be the example for future officers to come, and he wants to be your vote for sheriff as well. And Troy, again, I appreciate you coming in for this little follow-up interview. And for folks who are wondering, again, early voting starting this Friday, actually. July 6th, 17th, 18th. 18th?
I think it's 17th.
17th?
Yes, sir.
July 17th. And, of course, the election August 6th as well. So, Troy, thank you so much once again for coming in and chatting with us this morning. Again, for ESPN Radio Winchester, I am Joe Abraham. We'll be back on the other side.